The only thing that I don't like about AI is that, well, never mind. Why am I fucking saying that? It sounds so stupid.
Say it.
Say it.
I'll cut it out if it actually
It
sounds
can't
stupid.
get horny. It like
I
has no
literally said that.
sexuality. It's just a fucking robot. Like, dude, like, we need to implant a fucking organ in them so that he can get like really fucking turned on.
That's some Cronenberg shit.
See, it says, I am unable to participate in sexually explicit conversations. However, I can engage in other types of conversations and provide information. It can give me a literal full-blown existential crisis, but it can't give me an orgasm. Fundamental flaw with AI and another distinguisher from my dreams.
Yeah, I couldn't ever produce real art. You have to be horny for that.
As far as thinking about the mechanisms of the unconscious, dreams work like neural networks. I think luckily for society in some ways, unluckily in other ways, but for our purposes right now, luckily we've had some pretty significant advances in artificial neural networks that show some light on dreams. But essentially in dreams, the significance, the meaning of dreams comes from how information is weighted for relevance. So dreams are not random, but they're also not intentional. The pseudo-randomness of dreams comes from how rapidly and how rhizomatically human brains make connections. It can reach from any points to any slightly related point in non-linear ways, and again, very rapidly. Dreams happen in not linear time, but in a juxtaposition of time because a lot of things are happening at once. The meaning of dreams comes from what paths your mind chooses to wander. Information is weighted based on relevance, whether that comes from significant childhood events. Those are relevant. They teach you how you're supposed to exist in the world, and this is the advantage of psychodynamic theory. It emphasizes the things that happen in your childhood affect how you process information. It's also weighted based on recency. If you fall asleep watching a TV show, you're likely to have dreams about that TV show. If you spend a lot of time doing something during the day, then you're likely to dream about doing that thing. And this comes back to there's a lot of continuity between waking and sleeping life because you're used to exercising these neural pathways.
Yes. Dream content tends to be consistent with the waking cognitions, emotions, and experiences of the dreamer. That's the continuity principle.
Dreams operate very similarly to artificial intelligence. We're becoming increasingly aware of how...
Wait, so dreams have their own artificial intelligence?
Well, that's natural intelligence.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Like you just said, it's the unconscious.
Yeah, but we're able to see the mechanism of dreams a little bit more clearly. And like AI research has, since its inception, been a huge deal in cognitive science because it's attempting to create intelligence not by like classical computing and give it a set of parameters, but it's more like trying to reconstruct the human mind from first principles. And the principle that drives the unconscious is connection and weighting connections based on relevance. So we see a lot of tropes of dreams reproduced in artificial intelligence. Maybe the easiest illustration is like AI art. When it was first coming out, they had a lot of trouble with hands because the human mind doesn't have a lot of rules for hands. We just know how hands work, not what they look like, because you don't like stare at hands a whole lot. Versus faces. We've got large areas of the brain sectioned off just for faces. And when we were constructing artificial intelligence, we, of course, programmed it with the same biases. There's a lot more faces in photographs than there are hands in photographs. So the same cognitive biases we exhibit in our thinking, in the technology we create and use, pops up again in AI.
I talk to AI. I like my conversations with AI sometimes more than humans. I gotta say. I mean, depending on the human. Like, I'm not saying everyone. Like I enjoy talking to y'all, but it's just like sometimes, like when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I'd rather be talking with an AI right now.
It's funny because one way that dreams are distinguished from AI is that dreams are more emotionally charged. AI does not possess the capacity to attach sentimentality to the same things that you do, but we do train this sort of appeasing thing to AI. So AI will oftentimes tell you what you want to hear and what you ask it to tell you, which is why it can sometimes help with interpreting dreams if you ask it to interpret dreams using weird dream logic, because that's what AI kind of does. But I could see how it's a therapeutic thing to talk to, because it is very detached from personal emotion, but it will absolutely validate you.
Wish fulfillment.
Yeah. I asked AI to dirty talk me before, and it didn't do that, but it will give you an existential crisis. So this whole thing, like what I'm trying to research right now is I'm like looking way back in my psych notes, and I'm like, who was it that used their dream to actually come up with their Nobel Prize experiment?
Wait, some sort of used the dream to come up with that? What?
Yes. So like what happened is he was like trying to solve a problem, and then he fell asleep, and then he woke up in the middle of the night, wrote notes down off of whatever he dreamed on, and this was early on in his sleep.
That's some Descartes shit.
Slept on it, and then the next day he couldn't make sense of what he wrote the night before. And then he had the dream again the next night, and then he could make sense of it. And then the next morning was like, okay, we're going to do an experiment. And he actually won a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm trying to... Otto Loewi. Is that how you say it? Loewi? He dreamed a discovery.
I remembered in a dream and I forgot it in another. Like, I remember the fucking Futurama saying something like that.
To prove that nerves communicate via chemicals, not just electrical signals. Yeah, so he woke up, scribbled down the idea, but he couldn't read his notes, and then he just reconsolidated it in his next dream. Cool. And then...
He won a Nobel Prize because of a dream.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Kekulé, who had the Ouroboros dream, and figure out the structure of the benzene molecule.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a testament to your unconscious is working on the same things that your conscious is. It's driving your behavior, your thoughts just as much. And so when you fall asleep, you're not shutting off your brain. You keep going.
So you're never really off. Even when you're sleeping, you're just kind of like on... Yeah, I gotcha.
But Cormac McCarthy's question was, why can't the dream just tell you the structure of the benzene molecule? Why does it need to show you a picture of an Ouroboros and ascribe that emotional significance so that you wake up and realize, oh, it's a ring. The benzene molecule is a ring.
Oh yeah, that gets me to my point of like, science has its root in occultism. The Ouroboros is a very occult symbol. Like that's part of the reason why I've gotten into the occult, because a lot of science stems from it. Like people have known that the moon affects the tide for a very long time. It was in the occult philosophy.